Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, investment advisor, and insurance professional Alfie Townsend, president of Advantage Retirement Group.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You're listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I'm Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional. I am here with Pastor John Antonucci, and we're going to have a great show. We have a special guest, and you're going to love his story also, so stay tuned. We'll tell you all about it, but in the meantime, buckle up, and John's going to welcome you to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Southwest Florida. If you're ready to gain clarity and confidence in your financial plan, Alfie's Financial Freedom Strategy Guide is available right now. This exclusive guide includes 13 powerful strategy guides designed specifically for high net worth investors like you. Inside, you're going to discover how to navigate the complexity of taxes, investments, and retirement planning. You're going to maximize your wealth, whether you're looking to preserve it, grow it, or plan for your family's future. Protect your assets from market volatility, rising taxes, inflation, and so much more. Listen, to get your copy, it's complimentary. You can pick it up today by calling the operator and asking for it, or text the word FREEDOM to 239-747-1077. Once again, the word is FREEDOM. You can text that word or call the operator and request Alfie's Financial Freedom Strategy Guide. It's complimentary for you today. Don't hesitate. Pick up the phone right now. Don't wait to the end of the broadcast. Text the word FREEDOM or call the operator at 239-747-1077. And Alfie, just to talk about one thing before we get introduced Dewayne to our listeners today, Powell is keeping everything pretty much status quo. What do you think about that? I mean, everything's coming down. Inflation's coming down. Job losses coming down. I mean, we're in a great position, and he's not moving any rates at all.
He's not. I don't know what the deal is with that. You had I was looking at the European Union. Europe is cutting rates like crazy. I think 8 times already.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they're cutting rates, and so I don't know what is that goal. His goal was to get closer to 2, but inflation is going. Inflation is down. We have a lot of things that are down right now. The economy, the job numbers are looking good, but man, what a boost to the economy we would have. What a boost to this. The market, everything, if he would just, I think he's calling for 2 for the year. It was 4, now he's calling for 2, and they don't even know when that's coming. So we'll keep an eye on that. But you're right, it needs. I don't know what he's waiting for. It's a little bit puzzling. Most people are, that know a lot about this. That's in Wall Street. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for it, and it's not happening. So I don't know what he's waiting for, but
it's June already. I mean,
yeah, we're in June, and half the year is already gone. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
man, we're gonna be celebrating Christmas before you know it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So every Monday I do a thing with Mike Opelka on this station. And we talk about the market in review, and there's
what time is that?
It's every Monday at 7:36. I come on, and we spend about he gives me about 10 minutes just going back and forth about things, and some of the things was pretty interesting this past Monday, because we're talking about the S&P in May was their best month in 30 years.
That's great.
In 30 years. So this is, the economy is going to be, I'm telling our clients, I'm telling our listeners on radio and TV, I really feel the market is going to have a nice year. If you're not in the market and you're sitting on the sideline, or if your accounts aren't really doing what they should be doing, give us a call and let us do what we call a retirement simulator. We'll go through everything. We'll look at it. We'll dissect it. We'll get you an income plan. Some of our income plans are paying 12% income, up to 15% and 8%. So we have different ones, and these aren't, I'm not talking about an annuity. I'm talking about something that is going to be paying for either 1 year, we could do a 2-year and a 3-year. Whatever you're looking for, we have that. So we can create income, and all of those are 2 to 3 times what really is expected to come out of a portfolio for income. the rule of thumb was always 4%, take 4%, and then, but if you think about it, if you had $3 million, 4% would be $120,000. Well, we can generate $120,000 with not $3 million, but with $800,000, we can get the money that you need. So, and then the rest of the money can be invested. So there's a lot of different income strategies that we can show you, because when you retire or soon to be retired, income is the most important thing, and you can't be really taking income from an account that's going down. That's the most important. You don't want to be, that's called reverse dollar cost averaging. So the last thing you want to do is take money out of an account that's going down. So you have to have a good income plan and then investment plan. So if you don't have that, give us a call.
Yeah, and you said the S&P has really had the best run since in 30 years. I mean, how many times have we been sitting here over the past 18 years talking about the market that went down, that came roaring back, and how many people pull out of the market
Yeah.
when the market goes down? I mean, they really are missing out on these rebounds that can actually increase their portfolio exponentially, because that's really where you say returns come from the market, is in the dips and in the
Yeah.
comebacks. And people that pull out, that panic, are really the ones that are missing out on incredible wealth during this stage, aren't they?
Yes. And that's a good point, John, because you don't know when to get in and when to get out. That market timing is done. You can't do that to have a consistent return in the market. And you had this week, this past week, you had Ukraine bomb Russia bad, big time on their planes. They knocked out their bombers, billions and billions of dollars worth of planes, and that is going to be devastating and there's going to be retaliation. There was a bridge knocked down too. I mean, exploded. So this is they're hitting them hard. They're hitting them hard, and he did tell President Trump that there's going to be retaliation for what happened, and then negotiations might talk. I think Putin wants, I think the people around him, and they said that some of that could be inside, the bridge and everything. The bomb could be more inside than what we think in Russia. So he's paranoid right now. You had Condoleezza Rice, I was reading, and she was on the morning show, I think, with Brian Kilmeade, and she was saying that he has always acted paranoid, but he is real paranoid right now. The worst that he has that she's seen him in years. So there's a lot of things happening, and that could affect the market. So there's so many different things that could affect the market. That's why you have to have rebalancing. That's why you need an income plan. That's why if you're thinking about changing your advisor or just getting a second look, this might be the perfect time to put you in a place that you can reap the rewards and have an income plan that you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, Alfie has put together what's called a retirement simulator process. It is a deep dive into your current portfolio to see what's really going on. What he does when you come into Fort Myers or Naples is he sits down with you and takes your portfolio back 5 years and puts it side by side with his portfolio. And he creates an income plan and a strategy that's tailor-made, custom for your particular goals, dreams, and visions for your retirement. Listen, if you're soon to be retired or maybe 5 or 10 years from retirement, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Southwest Florida's premier financial planner professional. Alfie is a CFP with over 40 years experience, and he's also a fiduciary, which means his responsibility is to you, the individual investor, not to any products or services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. Let him take a deep dive into your current portfolio, expose all the hidden fees that could be eating up your returns each and every year. He's going to make sure that you're allocated properly, that you're diversified correctly, that you are rebalancing so that you keep the mix of asset classes and safe investments that you desire to have in your portfolio. And he's going to make sure that you're not taking undue risk for the amount of return that you're getting each and every year. Listen, you owe it to yourself. Be one of the first 9 callers right now. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Pick up the phone, your smart device, call the operator, or text the word VISIT, V-I-S-I-T, to 239-747-1077. Again, you want to text that word VISIT to 239-747-1077. You'll visit with Alfie Townsend himself. Be one of the first 9 callers right now. You also can go over to savingtheinvestor.com. Again, savingtheinvestor.com. You'll find a wealth of information about Alfie, his company, and all the services that he offers here through the Advantage Retirement Group. We want you to stay tuned. We're going to be right back with a special guest, so please don't go away. Welcome back to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner Alfie Townsend. You know, Alfie's here to help you thrive in Southwest Florida's retirement paradise. Today, we're going to be diving into President Trump's big, beautiful bill and its impact on your wealth. But first, you can pick up Alfie's brand new book, Making Waves in Retirement. All you have to do is text the word book, B-O-O-K, to 239-747-1077. Listen, some of you may not text. All you have to do is pick up the phone, call the operator, ask for Alfie's brand new book. We'll get it to you complimentary today. Text the word book or call the operator to 239-747-1077. And we're so excited today to introduce an inspiring community leader, Dewayne Moore, as the founder of the Dewayne Moore Foundation. Dewayne is transforming lives through financial literacy, youth mentorship, and initiatives like Unspoken Legacy and Anchor Impact. We're here to welcome you today, Dewayne. It's so great to have you in studio.
I'm glad to be in the studio. I'm excited about it.
Fantastic. Well, Dewayne, we know you from Missy, and Missy is a good friend of ours, and she does a lot with Byron Donalds, and I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then about your podcast. And our son Devin, my son Devin, is he helps you out with the podcast, and he said, I really like Dewayne, and Dad, I think you should have him on your show. So that's the reason why you're here. That he really looks up to you, and so tell us a little bit about what you do and about yourself.
A little bit about myself. First and foremost, I certainly appreciate you guys for taking the opportunity to give me the opportunity within my platform to be here in the studios with you guys. So thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Most people ask, Anchor is an acronym for Achieving New Community Horizons through Outreach and Resources, and which we know, going back to our President Trump, back in 2016, he created what they call opportunity zones. And opportunity zones came from, that was 171 cities across our country that was socially, economically suppressed. And what we realized about those communities, they was at risk. And when I started to look at these particular communities, I understood that if we have this expectation as adults, then we have to have an expectation for our kids, our youth. And so what I realized, critical at-risk kids who lacked information, they lacked exposure, they lacked preparation and being equipped for opportunity that was available in our country. So I took a strong passion for going inside those communities and making sure we can reach those kids.
That's big.
Yes, sir.
That's big. And so you are you were telling me you're a motivational speaker, and you just got back from Rutgers University.
Yes, sir.
And what'd you do over there?
When we got an opportunity, I always say fire some people up about life.
Yeah. There you go. I like that.
Yeah. I think most people, they wake up every day and they don't understand you woke up on purpose. It wasn't a coincidence that you woke up. That I always view what they call the death calculator. In our world, there's 175,000 people die per day. Okay, so 170,000 people die per day. You woke up today because God dispatched His life angel. And so when you wake up every day of your life that God gives you, you wake up on purpose for a purpose. So understand what your purpose is, and you got to go get that purpose.
I love it. I love it. So tell us, Pastor John right here, he's he can relate to you. Just that he's the one to relate to you, and I relate to you also. But John, that's pretty amazing. I like that. You wake up with a purpose every day.
Yeah, well, I like to say that too. We've been created on purpose by God for a purpose. And really, until you discover that purpose, life really isn't fulfilling. And to see what you're doing in the community and impacting, young people through the programs that you have established, God has given you an incredible vision that, vision always makes a way and opens the doors for many opportunities that you've had. Maybe you could talk about some of the opportunities that you've had here in Southwest Florida, because I know some people, city takers, I don't know if you know Greg Jackson, people like that are impacting young people. And really that's what's needed, because the family unit is something that has been broken down over the years.
Oh, absolutely. I always and we named the program Anchor. We should have named it Bridge because what I realized that there's a bridge that need to be built in these young people's lives. You got the lack of attention at home sometimes because most of the young men we deal with, they come from a single parent home. So mom is working two jobs, so it's not enough time there per se to really raise this kid with a standard, which I call character perspective. Then we obviously know what's going on with the board of education. I get it. You're not there to raise kids, you're there to educate. But our kids are graduating at the reading level of a third grader, at the mathematics of a fifth grader. And so what I understood, that dynamic has been broken. So now we have these kids who are graduating, they coming out to our society, our American society, and we have this expectation for them that is just not never going to be fulfilled because of the lack of information to educate them. And so what we've done, we've pushed the Literacy Act. The Literacy Act is it comprised of healthcare literacy, financial literacy, and law literacy. And so I can dive a little bit into that here in a second.
Well, that's fantastic. And I mean, that's really, when we talk about creating wealth, that people have to have that understanding. And I know Alfie, he goes into the school system here and you
Yeah.
get to share with some young people and mentor them. You're doing some great things in the community as well to help those that may be less fortunate to have a step up in order to be able
Yeah.
to create wealth in the future, don't you?
And a lot of these kids, they feel like they don't have hope.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, they feel like they don't have hope, and then you just give them a little bit of hope. And as a kid, they don't have all the negativity yet as adults have,
Right.
because we have a lot of negativity. And we're getting put down all the time, but they, with a little hope and a little push, you can make it happen. So you can change lives with the young a lot easier than helping someone that's already 30, 40 years old. And those are ones that need the help. And just give them a little bit of encouragement and guidance. That's what they need. Especially, I was the same. I didn't have a dad, so it was the same thing as you. And when your mom's working, jobs, and coming home late, you're right. And what I did, I got in trouble all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, something we know is young men need a model.
Right.
Have a model. And a lot of times when we talk about exposure, when you really talk about exposure, you talk about changing the environment. A guy told me one time, and I coined it. He said, "You can get a dog up every day and take him to a red door. If you change the color of the door, you change the mindset because what you just did, you just changed his environment." And so a lot of times, if kids doesn't have a model, I don't care how great a woman is, she cannot teach a young man how to be a man.
Yeah.
She just can't. And so when you take away that dynamic of having a man in his life, it helps him not understand what stewardship of a man really is because he doesn't see that.
Yeah, and John Maxwell always said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I mean, you're influencing young people, and really that's what Alfie tries to do on this broadcast, because influence, in order to get people to be directed in the right path, to be able to invest and
Yeah.
make prudent decisions that are wise, that will get them through retirement,
Yeah.
is really some of your key goals, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, because that's what you're an influencer, but you have to know what you're talking about, and that's what what you're talking about. We know what we're talking about here at the Advanced Retirement Group. Um, Talk about a little bit about your podcast and Missy Lasser's podcast. What you guys do?
We got a podcast, and of course, we came up with the name, The Conservative Perspective. And that word conservative can be very broad. A lot of times now, when you say conservative, everybody just think GOP or the Republican Party. But being conservative, understanding the right things of not being codependent, but being more independent. And so what we're trying to do is, especially, and I take this from the young people that we get the opportunity to mentor, is our voice. We want to echo to help people in our community understand what having a conservative perspective is all about and why we believe the way we believe in our core values. For me, even though I'm work in political services, but it's not just about that. It's helping young men and women or older men and women understand how to be more independent with the level of stewardship that they have control over their own lives. So that's more or less, even though we get to bring in a lot of politicians, a lot of community leaders, but helping people understand how to be independent in their thought process and how to have conservative perspectives when it relates to life.
Love it, love it. Now, how can so if somebody wants to get a hold of you for speaking, or mentoring? How would they do that?
Of course, we got the Dewayne Moore Foundation. They can go to my name, www.dewaynemore.net, or they can go to unspokenlegacy.org. All our services are free. We charge nothing for our services. We want to be able to give our services away. Even, there are speaking engagements that we do, get on the radio and so speaking, but locally, any schools, any churches, any youth groups, we go in and we give our services away.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, if you want to take advantage, I think you should take advantage. He was football. That sports seems like that's the one that really gets people, the young kids, through adversity. Adversity, because when you have sports, you have leadership, and you're among usually coaches and teams that are really thriving and pushing you. So, Dewayne, we appreciate you coming here this morning and talking about that. And we're gonna, on the other side of the break, we're gonna give your name and podcast more where they can reach out to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, you're listening to Saving the Investor radio broadcast right here on 92.5 Fox News, savingtheinvestor.com, or pick up the phone 239-747-1077. You visit with Alfie in Fort Myers or Naples, savingtheinvestor.com. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back right after this break. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor. This is Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional, here with Pastor John Antonucci. We just had Dewayne Moore on our show, and he is, we'll talk more about him, how you can get a hold of him. But let's talk business right now. Let's talk about Trump's big, beautiful bill. And we were talking, John and I, over the, in between, and we're hoping that it does get passed. We have, it is going to, with Elon Musk not on board at all. It seems like it's going to be hard to get this bill passed, but it needs to get passed because we have to can't go back. It would be a $4 trillion rate hike for the Americans. So we cannot have that. Now, I think what the problem is, John, they are not taking consideration what this bill is going to do for jobs, how much is going to create jobs, how much is going to create extra taxes that's going to be sent to the government that could go to pay down the debt. I think that's what they're missing. They're seeing the increase over the $5 trillion over the next 10 years, but I don't think they're taking consideration. They usually don't. The money that the GDP numbers are going to be increased, the trillions of dollars that's going to be spent here is going to create jobs, it's going to create wealth, it's going to create additional taxes that are going to go to pay down this debt.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot in there of spending, which they want to see more cuts. People like Rand Paul, who's speaking out against it, they want to see cuts. I mean, if we're not cutting back our spending, we're basically on the same platform as we've been on. So, I mean, how can they cut spending enough to be able to sharpen the pencil to get it to the point where everybody's palatable with it? Because they have to get this bill through, or, the taxes are going to go through the roof for people.
Oh, it is. This will be something that would bring down the stock market. You would start to see the market have volatility if this thing doesn't get passed. But you're right. What they have to look at is not just cuts. They have to look at if they go back to spending when it was pre-COVID spending, that would be just fine.
Yeah, it's only 5 years ago, but they're beyond that. Schumer's saying this is a Die America type bill, and
Well, Schumer doesn't matter. He's out. He's not going to be elected anyway. He's going to get beat by whoever runs against him. So, but it's going to be what they need is the Republicans to get on board, and they already have Republicans that are, like you said, Rand Paul. He's not liking it. There's other senators not liking this. So, and then if you have Elon Musk with the voice that he has, and remember, I say he got President Trump elected. He had spent $200 million of his money, and he also has the platform with X. So there's a lot of, if he is not liking the bill, that's not good.
No, No, and a lot of people don't like it, and Elon is a guy that wants to cut everything back, spending except for the main things, Medicare, Medicaid, those type of
Yeah.
things. But they have to begin cutting some things, because if this goes through the way it is, it's not going to pass. So I mean, they have to either get these senators on board. What are they going to do, to make this change? Because this has to be done. But
Yeah, it has to be done, and they want it. Yeah, because if it's not done by a certain time, then the other one just renews. It goes back. Sunsets back to the old bill, and that's not a good thing because the old bill, there was um, a lot higher taxes on that old bill. So
And when we talk about no tax on Social Security, or we talk about no tax on tips or overtime, where is that money going to come from? You're saying that you believe that the economy is going to grow by passing this bill, which is going to offset those,
yeah,
retributions that they're going to get,
and
right?
that's what they don't. That's what when they run these figures, they don't know if it's going to grow or not. But common sense tells you. But if you look at Reagan when he did the big tax cut remember the highest marginal tax rate in 1980 when it was Carter was at 79. It was at 70%, the highest marginal tax rate.
It's crazy.
70%. We're at like 37%. Okay, maybe 39, but we're nowhere near that. And you didn't get to the 35% in 1979. If you look at it, 35%, you were only making 20 something $1,000. So if you take that in consideration, you'd be in the 35% tax bracket with that bill back there in 1979, probably making 80,000. Let's say 100. That would be a lot, but let's say 100,000. You're not in that tax bracket until you're at like 400,000 here. So this would be, there's room to increase these taxes, and you could have increased taxes. That doesn't cut the deficit. That doesn't cut the deficit. They prove that. What cuts the deficit is less spending and getting the economy up and running. That you got to get the economy up and running, and that's what this bill would do. When you have no tax on tips, no taxes on overtime, I don't think the one with Social Security is going to pass. I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, so they have to get rid of that. But one thing they have to get rid of. When I say they have to get rid of that, they'll probably get rid of that. But one thing they're going to need to get rid of is going to be, how to all the spending. It's the spending. It's not the cuts. It's the spending. We got to cut spending down. That's the bottom line. Got to cut spending.
We
So
want to cut spending down, but I mean, in this bill has a lot of spending in it, and that's what is raising the red flags for people. And where did they cut? Who's going to make these decisions to cut these, type of entitlements? Really, is what it's been, because this government is growing out of control. It's a monster right now.
it's a monster. And when you have this, 37, $38 trillion debt, I mean, when just the interest alone, what they're paying is really the budget for Medicare and defense. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is just the interest. That's one of the reasons why Trump wants this cut. You got to cut rates. You got to cut interest. If you could just cut interest a little bit, that saves a lot of money right there. And he's not cutting it.
Right.
Powell is not cutting it. And so we need to get in. And that's what happened when interest rates were at zero pretty much. It was at, 1 or 2%. You could have all this spending back then.
Sure.
Because you could handle the interest. If you had
Finance
if you're
too
just
lower.
yeah, if you're just paying the interest and the interest is so low, that's a different story. It's not a big deal. But that's the time they should have been cutting down the debt. Putting that money towards the debt. But now the interest is so high, they don't have extra money to put towards the debt. So yeah, something has to come about, and I hope they redo this bill where they do more cuts. And hey, I do like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and put the tax bracket permanent. That would be nice. If you could do that, then you're going to see the stock market just take off.
Yeah.
You're going to see it take off. But I'm not disagreeing with Elon Musk. Now he went in there and he tried to cut, and you can see he didn't do that good of a job because
What is it, $6 or $8 billion? I mean, it's money, but it's not
no, yeah,
anywhere near what he thought.
yeah,
would
he
be
thought
$1
it was going to be
trillion.
$1 trillion, and it's nothing.
Yeah,
It's nothing, and that's what. But on the other hand, it has to go back to less spending. You got to cut spending because we got a spending problem. And not, it's not anything but a spending problem. But you do have to take in consideration this bill will create jobs, and it will create wealth, and it should cut down the deficit. But you can't. I would like to have less spending also.
yeah. Well, let's talk about some of these criticisms here. Deficit concerns. We're talking about Rand Paul. He's worrying that it's going to add, pretty much 3 to 5 trillion to the deficit, which really would be something that is detrimental to our country. 3 to 5 trillion. But I mean, who really knows what's going to happen? Now they're talking about removing the debt ceiling as well. I mean,
Yeah.
what would that do?
That's the part that's ticking everybody off. But if you don't remove the debt ceiling, then what happens is you can't balance budgets and stuff like that. It's just you have to really start tackling that debt. And if you can start tackling the debt, I think the Republicans will all be on board.
Yeah.
If they see, hey, okay, we realize we can't have all this spending, and you're going to see the Democrats just fight like tooth and nails because that's taking away from their people.
Their pork and what they want
Yeah,
to spend.
and
Their-
there's a
their-
lot
their
of pork in there.
constituents. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I
of,
mean, this is what we elected Trump for, so we got to give it a shot here, don't we?
and this is the time to do it because he is not running for re-election as we think he is.
He's a lame duck in midterms. at
Oh
this
yeah,
point.
but he does. He has so much. I don't think he's going to be that lame term president because of the power he'll have even after his presidency with the people. Because he can go and get people elected and stuff
He's
like
going to
that.
handpick who his successor is, probably.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. And it could be Rubio. It could be Vance. I mean, both of them are good.
Yeah.
You would think it would be Vance. So yeah, there's a lot going on. You can see when you're talking about politics, it does affect your portfolio. It does affect your retirement. But what you need to do is make sure that your portfolio and your income plan, your taxes, your legacy is all in place. Because if it's not, then you're going to have a problem because we will have volatility in the market. We are going to have volatility in the market. And when you have volatility, there's opportunity also. So if you have, high appreciative stocks, volatility, there's great ways to get excess income from those volatile stocks have high appreciation. So, you need to give us a call, talk to us. You're listening to Saving the Investor. Our phone number is 239-747-1077. Give us a call. Come in. We'll look at your account, see if we can create more income for things that you currently have right now. Just doing a little bit of tax strategies. 239-747-1077. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor. I'm John Antonucci with Southwest Florida's premier financial planner professional, Alfie Townsend, with over 40 years' experience as a CFP and as a fiduciary, which means his responsibilities to you. Today, we're going to dive into some topics on securing your wealth, 6 essential strategies for high net worth individual. It's a hot topic, but you can pick up Alfie's brand new Financial Freedom Strategy Guide. It's a powerful collection of exclusive strategy guides for high net worth investors. To get your free copy today, all you have to do is text the word freedom to 239-747-1077. Call the operator or text the word freedom to 239-747-1077. Get your complimentary Financial Freedom Strategy Guide or go to savingtheinvestor.com. And Alfie, when we're talking about, retirement, we're not going to be able to cover all 6 keys in the rest of this broadcast today. But how do people ensure that they have the income they need throughout their retirement years? I mean, what do you do that helps people really secure income and create an income plan throughout their entire retirement because they don't even know how long they're going to live?
Yeah, well, you have to have people are living longer if you look at the statistics, John, people are living longer. So a lot of people aren't planning on living as long as they do. So you have to make sure you have an income that is growing, not depleting everything. So if your plan is a depletion and then at age 80 you have no money, that's not a plan. Your plan
We're in
needs
trouble then.
yeah, your plan needs to be where you are, you're taking income, you're beating inflation, and your accounts are working for you, but you have income. And that's where I see the biggest lack of planning, and when people come in, is a lack of income that they have, or the type of planning that they're doing for income planning, because they're not taking consideration inflation, taxes, legacy, RMDs. Hey, you got RMDs, those required minimum distribution. Should you be taking your RMD before you turn age 73? Is that a good plan? Or do you wait and have it keep building up, and then you have to take more out at age 73? These are the type of things that we talk about, especially if you have 401ks where you still might be working. And a lot of the plans, when you have a 401k, if you're over 59 and a half, you are allowed to do in-service withdrawals. That means you're allowed, while you're working, to continue making your distribution or your contributions to your 401k. And then you also have your employer making their contributions, but you could take about 95% of that money out and move it to your IRA and have just a plethora of options to invest versus just some money sitting in that 401k. 401k, you have like maybe 10 to 20 different options, but all those options are duplicate of other you might have a Fidelity option, you might have a Vanguard option, but they're the same thing typically. So this is why you want to control it yourself. If you can control it yourself, you have the world of opportunity of investments versus just what they're offering you. So if you're still working, yes, you can do what we call a rollover from your 401k into your own IRA. So that's an option there. If you're working and you left your 401, or maybe you're retired, or you're working and you have a 401k where you used to work, you want to take that and roll it over to your own IRA. These are things that we do at the Advanced Retirement Group, and we show you why you want to roll it over here, because of the managers that we have, the individual stocks that you will have, and some of the income plans that you will have that you just don't have elsewhere. We look at what's out there, and we are definitely a step above the people that are out there investing people's money here in Southwest Florida. And we can prove it to you by giving us a call, coming in and show you what we do here different at the Advanced Retirement Group.
Yeah, if you're wondering how your retirement plan stacks up, you should take action today for a free retirement strategy session. Give Alfie and his team a call at 239-747-1077. You also can just text the word VISIT to 239-747-1077. We've been talking about taxes. Let's dive even further into taxes, because taxes, we've been talking about, is a huge concern, especially for those high net worth individuals out there. Why is it important to be proactive, and what can you do to tax plan and put strategies in place regarding taxes if the big, beautiful bill goes through, or if it doesn't go through? I'm sure you're preparing for both outcomes, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, you have to make sure that whatever happens will happen, and we will make changes. And that's what good planning does, is, because you're going to, regardless of tax plans that come in, regardless of what the tax bracket is, there's always things that we can do. And we work hard with our CPAs, we work hard with our tax attorney. That's also our state attorney, and many of you heard him on our show. Jonas is an attorney that really looks at tax laws and looks at opportunities. That's what that's what you want. You want an opportunity. There is an opportunity for everything, and if sometimes people look at it as a negative, but sometimes there's a positive in there if you look at it different ways. And one of the things that my client Tony was telling me, he said, Alfie, you said something on the Mike Opelka show on a few weeks back about ask good questions to get good answers. And I got that from Tony Robbins. He says you have to ask good questions in order to get a good answer.
Right.
And a lot of people come in, like I said, they come in here, and they're not really asking good questions. So what we do is because I'm looking at it, if I was in their shoes, what questions would I be asking? What questions they should be asking? So we ask them the questions. We say, listen, this is what I would ask. What's your fee? How do you get paid? How does this portfolio stack up to my portfolio? These are things, what are the fees in that portfolio that you have? What are the fees in my current portfolio? So we will ask the right questions for you if you don't have them. And that's how you get, the good answers, is make sure that that you are asking questions, regardless of if it's with investments or whatever. That's probably one of the best things I've read out of in Tony Robbins' book, is ask good questions to get good answers.
Yeah, it's a great point, and you want to ask somebody who has 40 years experience as a certified financial planner professional who's a fiduciary. Visit with Alfie in Fort Myers or Naples. Be one of the first 9 callers right now. Take advantage of his retirement simulator process. It's basically a deep dive into your current portfolio that will expose all the hidden fees that could be eating up your returns each and every year. He's going to make sure you're allocated properly, diversified correctly, that you're not taking undue risk for the amount of return that you're getting. You want to deal with Southwest Florida's premier financial planner strategist. And he's going to put together a plan and a strategy that's tailor-made, custom for you. Pick up the phone or text the word VISIT, VISIT, to 239-747-1077. Also do want to tell you we have a YouTube channel, Saving the Investor, the YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. You can look at all the past episodes of radio and television to be able to watch instead of just listening to us on your radio broadcast today. Take advantage of that. Subscribe to the Saving the Investor YouTube channel.
Thanks, John. And, we had that special guest, Dewayne Moore, earlier. And, he was just a real good guy, motivational speaker, and does a lot for the community. And if you want to get a hold of him, we're going to have Devin. He will set something up where you can go to his website, contact him if you want to do something with him. That would be good. And that's what we do at the Advanced Retirement Group and our radio show, Saving the Investor. We want to bring in business owners and people like Dewayne that gives back to the community. If you're giving back to Southwest Florida, that's what it's all about. When you have more, you're supposed to give more. Is that right, John?
Sure. Good point.
Have more, you're supposed
to give than receive.
Absolutely, it is. So I hope you got a lot out of the show today, and there's just a lot going on with Russia, with Ukraine still, with China, with the tariffs. So if you don't have your affairs in order, if you don't know if you have the right plan in place, let us show you what we do here with the protection devices that we put in our portfolios, our income plan. There's a lot of protection there for you to, create wealth and have some protection to do it. And that's what it's all about, to get you to and through retirement. We always talk about our TV show, Saving the Investor. It's on NBC right after Meet the Press at 11 o'clock every Sunday, 11 to 11:30. Sometimes we do get preempted from mostly, I'll tell you the truth, it's mostly golf games, or if it's the French Open. So check that out. But until next week, we love having you and calling us and getting to your questions answered. Until next week, be blessed.